Oh, shit.
Just jump right on it.
There we go. Okay. Welcome back to the Action Jack-0ffs podcast. This is the show where we talk about the very best and favorite action movies of all time. In this episode, we're going to be talking about. Oh, did I get that right? Sorry. Talking about Blade. Okay, good.
Blade,
Sure.
the last of the spooky movies.
The last of our October trilogy, right at the tail end of October here. Almost didn't get here. It always just blows me away. Like,
What we believe and achieve around here.
yeah, we did it. We got here. So anyway, Blade, starring Wesley Snipes, Stephen Dorff, and most notably in my mind, like the thing that I think of the most is that it's written by David S. Goyer, who I remember. I mean, I think he did. Did he do all the Blade movies? I know he's collaborated a lot on other projects that are like of note. Like he was a writer for The Dark Knight, Batman Begins. He also did. I mean, I don't know if you would count this as something that's like worth of note, but he also did Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Did a lot of Batman properties.
I mean, I think that's worth a note.
I mean, it's
It's
something.
worth the note. I enjoy it.
Yeah, he's
Director's
got.
cut, of course.
Yeah, he's got a lot of. He's got a lot of writing credits for things comic book related. Like he wrote the screenplay for Man of Steel. He did the story for Dark Knight Rises. He did the screenplay for Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance. I mean, just so much, so much.
Something.
And then of course he's known for the Blade series, and he was a writer, but for all three of them. He even did Blade the series, which I've not seen, but I've heard something. It's there. But yeah. Anyway, David S. Goyer, and also directed by Stephen Norrington. Um, I'm sure it had a lot of other like good credits too. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but I'll look them up right now. Let's see here. Stephen Norrington, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Ass, and Return to Oz. That sequel to Wizard of Oz. What a wheelhouse for movies. To end up on Blade. Are you there? Am I talking into a void? So funny. Well, it seems like I've lost Lincoln for just a second. They give me plenty of time to vamp. But talking about things that I really enjoyed the most about Blade would probably have to be.
Hilarious.
Hey, what's up? Are you
Is that
back?
Mark?
Are you back?
Are you back?
Where'd you go?
I don't know. I've just been sitting here listening the whole time.
Oh, you're so funny.
Chimed in a few times.
I couldn't hear you at all.
Oh, that's funny. You
Uh,
were the one that sounded like cutting out.
Maybe there was just like a disconnection problem. That's okay.
It was funny because it would go silent for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then it would come back in, and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that is funny," and then I'd be like, "Oh no."
Yeah, no, that was
I heard almost all of it though. I'm
that's
sorry
good.
if I was sorry if I sounded like a silent loser.
No, you're fine. No, yeah, we were just talking about favorite things we liked about Blade, and I'd have to say my favorite thing about Blade was obviously Wesley Snipes' performance. Most notably, the fact that it's such a tonally inconsistent character. Um,
The smiles are my favorite.
yeah, like whenever he smiles, it's so out of pocket for that character. Like he's such a stoic, serious character that reacts in so many different ways to goofy or serious situations, and he always has some attitude that changes the entire tone of the movie. Like for example, one of the first things that, like, I mean, even in his opening scene, which is one of the best opening introduction scenes for an action hero ever, in my opinion, especially if we're talking about like 90s action movies, which, if you guys don't recall, Blade made it onto my top 10 favorite 90s action movies of all time.
He's
And
just playing games with his food in the beginning.
yeah, he was kicking ass,
Like
taking
fist bump in the
names.
air.
Yeah, that was the first thing I was thinking of, is the fist bump in the air where he does like one of those yes monikers. So funny to me. And then there's like those other moments in the movie, like when he's at the hospital and those security guards, or I guess our police officers, shoot him. And he
Are
goes,
you out of
he
your
goes,
damn
he
mind?
goes, motherfucker, you out of your damn mind. And I was like, dude, chill.
Or when he just throws the lady across the like to the other roof,
Yeah,
the Vanessa
yeah.
character,
Karen.
and oh yeah, Karen.
Yeah. No, yeah, that was so funny. Like, there's so many funny things in this movie.
Vanessa's the mom. I had them mixed up. Yeah, Dr. Karen Jensen.
Yeah,
Yeah, when he and then like he looks back at he throws her across to the other roof, looks back and sees the cops, then smiles again. And I was like, is he just like a teenager enjoying himself right now?
yeah.
What is
It's
happening?
and what brings
I
him
love
joy
it.
is something that is also just kind of like odd because you never know what it's gonna do. Like, and there's other things too that are, I think, are just really funny that have to do with Blade, but like Blade's not necessarily like the one initiating. Like whenever Steven Dorff's character Deacon Frost is at the park, I guess he's got sunscreen
Your
on.
mascara is running.
Yeah, and he's got that little girl by the neck, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill her" or something like that. And Blade's like, "I don't give a shit."
Yeah. They're just cattle too. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, and then Deacon throws the little girl, and boy, howdy, does she fly!
Oh my goodness. And then everybody just keeps walking as if a little girl wasn't thrown and there wasn't gunshot.
Yeah, and not only was she thrown, she like violently crashes through a hot dog stand.
Not a scratch on her.
Not a scratch on her. She's perfectly fine. And then Blade saves her from the bus, and nobody says anything. He's just like, he just tells her to get out of there. But yeah, no, I found the whole that sequence was really funny. Um, Other sequences, like the movie is just funny. Like the movie just has a sense of humor to it that I don't even think it fully realizes. Like it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh, I'm so uber badass. It's kind of like what Wesley Snipes' notorious attitude is, where he's like, oh, I'm so badass that uh all the cool shit I do, everybody's gonna perceive it as cool shit. But then when it's like actualized, it looks really fucking ridiculous.
And
Like
that's why we love it.
that's why I love. Yeah, that's why we
Yeah.
both get a kick out of it. Like for instance, that scene towards the end in the end fight where uh Blade just kind of like he rips out that one guy's throat and then he throws the
And throws it
throat
at the other guy.
in another guy's face.
It's
Yeah,
like Roadhouse was nothing to me.
yeah, no, that was so funny. That's just another really good example. What were some of the things that you really enjoyed about this movie?
I really enjoyed all of the techno synth music that we had to blare back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was just it really me and Kenny were just bumping our fists in the air and dancing a little bit. It was perfect.
Oh, did you see this with
Uh
Kenny?
oh yeah, I was like, I'm watching Blade for the podcast. And he goes, "Oh, we're watching Blade?" He just popped down on the couch. He was like, "I'm ready.
All right,
Put it
cool.
in."
Yeah.
I had to get out the old VHS for this one because I didn't want to rent it on any of the platforms.
Well, that's good. I mean,
I had to get one of the physical medias out.
that's why you have it.
Yeah, I had
What?
to get the old VHS rewinder, the
Yep.
little
That's why whenever thing goes to pot, you're gonna have the VHSs.
dude, 500 different ones, dude. I'm never gonna get bored.
Yep. You've always got
Only
something to
goes
watch.
The only thing that's gonna drive me crazy is that Revenge of the Sith isn't on VHS, but the other five original Star Wars George Lucas ones are, and uh, it's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to get a DVD or something.
Yeah.
But to continue what I enjoyed about Blade, I also can't tell you how much I enjoy Donald Lauge, the Quinn character.
Oh yeah,
He was on a show called Grounded for Life. Just as like a sitcom Irish dad that like makes his kids go to Catholic school, but they all are like mess ups and are all drinking and stuff.
yeah.
He's just one of my favorite guys. He's also in Shark Night 3D as it's just all very different characters, but he is like what I think of when I think of Blade 1.
You know
I
what?
usually think of the other characters that aren't Wesley Snipes.
You know what? I remember that guy as.
What's that?
He's Lieutenant Declan from Law and Order SVU.
You have been deep in SVU lately. He's also in Gotham.
Oh, okay.
He's what's his name's partner? The main who's the main guy from Gotham, the cop?
James Gordon.
Batman's buddy?
Jim Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon. He's
Yeah.
like Gordon's detective partner when he's on the in the up and coming force.
Oh, okay. He's like a good guy, I guess.
He's kind of like crooked at first when he first meets them, but then he like comes around and him and Gordon start solving crimes.
Gotcha. I wonder if that's something he was doing succinctly with Law and Order. I wonder.
It could have been around the same time, or Gotham could have been after, probably.
Because it was one of those things, he was on the show for a little bit. Like he had a mainstay on the show and then he left. And the only thing that he left behind when he got, apparently his character got one of the actual main characters pregnant. Yeah. It's like, oh, scandalous. But
No,
then
he's grounded for life.
and then he fucked off to Serbia or something like that. It was really funny. But that's
But he's just so funny when he's just like, Blade, you
Blade.
took my hand.
I owe
My
you
hand's
one.
back. You took my other hand.
I owe you two.
I don't know. I got both my hands back and I don't know which one to kill you with.
Isn't it funny to think that Blade, uh, he tried killing this guy like I don't know 2 times earlier in the movie, and each time he managed to get away.
And it's implied that he's done this before.
It's implied that yeah, it's implied he's done this before, and I keep thinking to myself like, dude, it's probably like the one thing where I'm like, Blade, come on, dude, you're letting this guy live.
He's playing with his food. We talked about it.
He's just gonna go out and kill more people. You're like, it's such a daisy chain of
I think
violence.
I think the idea is that he wants eventually that guy to lead him back to Frost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it clearly just
It,
doesn't work out.
because then it's like the cop and Pearl and all these other things that lead him. But he could have just followed Quinn at any point.
Yeah, I mean, he had to leave. I mean, he thought it. It's not even like he thought he killed Quinn when. I mean, that doesn't even work as like as a train of thought because he goes to the hospital where Karen is in one of the opening scene in the first act because he says he's there to finish Quinn off. It's like I came back to finish you off, and then Quinn escapes,
Oh
and
yeah, that's right. Because he's
and
interrupted by the cops when
yeah,
he's like messing with them.
yeah, and then Blade has to save Karen,
But he could have easily just shot him. It's dumb. Blade, just kill Quinn.
and then that's why at the end of the movie when he kills him so quickly, I was just like, oh my god, they could have done this at any point in
That's the
time.
joke.
Yeah, that's the comedy. That's the wink to the camera.
I mean, if Wesley Snipes did all but wink at the camera in this movie,
Pretty much, but
but
honestly,
then he gets the sunglasses back whenever he does decapitate Quinn.
yeah, and everything's cool. It's like cool and badass, and he's beating everybody up, and he's doing like those goofy spin kicks with that one guy where they're just like
Oh,
spin
it's
kicking
my
around each
favorite. I was
other.
like, oh, I've done this in UFC before.
What?
Good night.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm like I said,
Yeah.
what do you want? Good night, babe.
I see you found a costume.
Did I?
But Blade continues to be one of the best sci-fi action horror movies about vampires that I could ever see. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Love it a bunch.
I mean, certain things about it. I mean, obviously, this is like based on a comic book. Marvel Comics characters. It's the first Marvel movie I think we've covered. Um, Probably not going to be the last, but Yeah, this is the
And this
first.
is even just a Marvel adjacent movie. It's not really a Marvel Studios, but it is the first real superhero Marvel movie we've covered.
It's also the first. Like speaking of first, it's also the first comic book rated R comic book movie that was a box office success.
Everybody likes to point to Deadpool and the Wolverine, but this is really the first.
This is the first one, yeah. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine obviously like broke all the records, but
And then the
Deadpool,
original Deadpool and Logan.
yeah, Deadpool and Logan, they kind of changed the game, but it was really
Is
Blade
really the
that's
Blade trilogy.
yeah, that started it all. I mean, even with Ryan Reynolds, you know,
Even being Deadpool pretty much in those
in
movies.
yeah, in Blade Trinity. It's funny to me to think that I mean, obviously spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's funny to me to think that, you know, Blade was in that movie. Wesley Snipes' Blade was in that movie. And that was just such a treat, honestly.
That was
Just
one of my favorite moments ever because I never, out of all of the cameos, never in a million years did I think, oh, fucking Blade?
yeah. I know. Yeah, like that definitely got me. I mean, it was such a treat to see, and it's funny because I went with my wife
My
and
life.
my wife um and as soon as Blade came on screen, I started freaking out because I was like, "Oh, it's Blade," and she was like, "Who the fuck is Blade?"
The funniest thing ever.
And I was like, truly, like watching this scene is really only for people that have like watched Blade from such a young age. I feel like,
And I was
or
watching Blade 2 on repeat when it was on TV.
yeah. So you know, Blade shows up in that movie and everything's cool and badass, and he's got his badass lines. And then at one point he even says something like, "There's only ever gonna be one Blade," and I wonder if that was like a foreshadowing comment of the fact that the current Blade movie that they had in production at Marvel Studios now is just like never gonna happen.
It was probably a little bit of wishful thinking and hindsight being 2020, but I think it was more of he was making a comment in the idea that there was going to be another one soon, and that was going to be the joke.
Oh, like it was supposed to be.
Like a wink at the audience, like we know another Blade's coming, but he
Yeah,
doesn't.
but it never
But then it ended
manifests.
up having the opposite effect.
They put it down for they put it down over the fact that like do you remember what it was? Like did you hear about like the most recent stuff about the Blade 2025 movie about how it got like indefinitely shelved?
I just saw that that was the headline. I didn't read into it because I already have Blade. We don't
Yeah.
need another
We
one.
don't need another one. Yeah, you're right. It's just so funny to me to think that
I never was a fan of the announcement that they were doing more of them without Wesley Snipes, and not that upset that they canceled it
yeah, it's just funny to me to think that this
because
movie
there already is a Blade without Wesley Snipes that isn't very good.
is that the Blade series?
It might be the Blade series.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, Blade the series.
But
That's the box that I always remember seeing.
yeah,
But never
I've
actually.
not seen that, unfortunately.
Let's look at it for just a second. Just give it a little thing. One season, 9 episodes.
That makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like it got canceled before it even finished the first season this summer.
Yeah. Well, it's funny to
It's
me.
incredible.
The movie
It
had
looks so
been
bad.
the movie had been in production for like 5 years. It's still like in pre-production, even not you're not even like actual production, but it's been in pre-production for like 5 years, and it just blows me away. Like Mahershala Ali, he's been in the movie. He's been ready to be Blade for I don't know how long, and he's already like super frustrated that it's even taken as long as it has. Um, but I mean, even if it's always one thing or another, right? Like it's either script changes or it's director changes. They can't seem to come up with like a good story for the movie. They can't seem to come up with um like a good framework. They can't seem to come up with a good style or idea. Like it says right here, they lost the original director and then booked another director. Then that director left, and it got to a point where it was so bad they had to remove Blade from the 2025 schedule.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but Blade is supposed to be making an animated appearance, and there's also supposed to be that game. I don't know if you heard anything about that game that's supposed to be coming out with Blade, like the Blade video game.
Incredible. I mean, go ahead and take my money.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play it. I think it's Insomniac, the same guys that made Spider-Man, but I can't be sure.
It'd be pretty cool
But
if
I know,
they did.
I know you haven't played Spider-Man though, because you have an Xbox.
Uh-huh.
Ouch.
Go ahead. Rub it in.
Ouch. It's okay.
Ouch.
It's okay. You know, nobody.
It's all right. I saved all that money so I could buy more games.
That's funny.
Doesn't take up as much space, you know?
Yeah, no, you're
Doesn't
right.
look like I have Seto Kaiba sitting in my living room.
You know what's really awkward? Like, unless you have the kickstand for it, like it does not lay very. The PlayStation 5 does not play very well on its side. Like it plays, it just doesn't look like it plays very well on its side. Like it looks awkward.
Hmm.
But that's
You know,
besides
an
the point.
Xbox doesn't need a stand.
It's because
It
fucking
just sits,
box.
dude. It's just a fucking box, dude. It's not supposed to look pretty. It just plays the games.
That's hilarious.
Oh, it's so good.
Things
Can we
about
talk about how we don't need Pearl in this movie at all?
which one is Pearl? Is it the
The
fucking
the gigantic one.
the big fat one?
Yeah.
Yeah, such a weird decision. I was
Do
actually
we need that scene?
do we need it? I don't think we need it. I think they did it because it's gross and because it looks
I vote that this movie should have been 20 minutes shorter. Cut that scene out.
cut that out.
Plays a lot better.
I mean, you could have just had Blade find the information
Yeah, because then they just blow up some shit and move on with it a few minutes later.
yeah. And I don't know. It's interesting
And
to
just
me
the idea of drinking that much blood as a vampire,
to get that fat.
it'd be incredible.
Just the idea that a vampire can get fat, I think is hilarious. Now,
Because you never see, they're always like slim, like, you know, vampiric, skeleton looking people.
yeah,
And then this one just looks like the fucking Buddha statue.
yeah. Oh, the fucking multiple Buddha statues
Yeah,
melded into one.
incredible.
Well, it makes me think like I mean, we don't necessarily know exactly how this universe's vampires work, but we could possibly assume that vampires stay the way they are from when they were turned. So we can either assume that Pearl was already some giant chungus and just, was transformed into a vampire at that stage.
It just makes the mind boggle. Speaking of how vampires work in this universe, so steaks, right?
Yeah.
They use bones at different parts in this movie.
Yeah, I guess they never specify that it has to be a type of steak. It could just be any kind of steak.
Hey,
Maybe?
Buffy the Vampire does that sometimes, but it almost always would. And then they use silver, but then also Whistler is like, some of the legends are true, some of them aren't. And then Wesley Snipes is just like cracking their necks and stuff like a chiropractor, and they turn into dust.
True, yeah. Like,
So it's a little wonky with the special effects and or like rules of how they work, at least in the first one.
yeah, like it kind of makes me think of. I mean, it's such a dumb comparison, but it kind of makes me think of
Here we go.
Twilight. Um,
Well, in Twilight, they just can rip them apart and stuff.
well, that's what I was thinking. Is like maybe only a vampire can kill another vampire
Oh, with their hands.
with their hands because they're so
I see.
strong. Like it
Mm,
makes sense for Whistler to really focus on things like the garlic and the silver.
yeah, that the humans would have to use, but
Yeah, because he's not
because
strong enough to
Blade.
snap their necks.
I see, I see. That does make a little bit more sense. But the bones, come on, we're
Y-
stabbing people with bones now.
Yeah, because at that point you just make it seem like they can be stabbed with anything,
Hmm.
unless we are to assume that it's like a vampire bone, and like vampire bones can kill vampires. I don't know. Because they even like they,
I feel like I could touch my toes with this much of a stretch. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's pretty good. Uh, I mean, I don't know. They say different things like all the time, or like they're always like adding some new bit of information. Right, like we know silver is like a big thing, so we can assume Blade's sword is like silver or something, or it's like steel. Because at the end of the movie, one of them mentions that the blade is etched in acid, some kind of acid.
Yeah, like, do we need more details about why the sword is super awesome?
Like we know he already just goes around and like cracks necks. Like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like mentioning that the sword is now etched in some kind of vampire killing acid is I don't know. Is it necessary? Who knows? And then he asked the question. He asked the bigger question: is any of this really necessary?
I mean, it's just in the eye of the beholder. I just like that Whistler makes everything himself. That's a good old American man. Back when we used to make things in this country, you know what I mean?
Glad you brought it full circle.
I do.
Yeah,
It's
and
one of my favorite bits.
I like that.
One of my favorite bits to bring in.
I like that
Uh,
when you did that yesterday when we were hanging out and we were watching Monkey Shines.
Monkey Size. We had to do a small review of that at the end.
Oh, okay. And I'll just briefly talk about how like we were talking about how like all there's like that weird technology in the movie and how they would have had to like make all this stuff specific for a quadriplegic. And you were like, yeah, back when they used to make things in this country in the most organic setting possible. And dude,
It
I
wasn't even for the recording.
it wasn't even for anything. It was just for us. And I started laughing so hard because it was just perfect. It was perfect for the scenario.
It's not even that I have to say it once during the podcast. I literally at least say it once a day.
I wish I had that kind of discipline to just like force that into my life at some point.
It's funny because I don't even have to. They like it falls into my lap. Somebody will be like, "Ah, this fucking TV sucks." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's because it's a Sony."
Yeah.
Back when,
back
back when we used
back when we used to make things in this country, we
to
never had
make
to
things in
rely on
this country.
Sony. So funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so good. No, but yeah, we'll
Oh, it's so
definitely
good.
if you want to, we'll definitely talk about Monkey Shines at the end of this.
Oh yeah, at least for like a little 10 minutes. We'll just riff on it.
That's fine.
I just thought it'd be a nice little cherry on our
Yeah.
Halloween trilogy. Sneak a little fourth one in there. We
Yeah.
already got Snowman too, so really we're
Ugh.
right there.
Well, it's so funny because I think about Blade and I'm like, we can talk about all the good things in it. Like, there's so many. There's good things in it. It's one of those things where it's like it's obviously it's like a cheesy kind of movie, and a lot of people would look at it and be like, oh, on surface level, there's not a lot here to make it like a good movie. But I think it's like
It's just enough.
it's got so much going for it.
It's just got so much character. It's like a dented up car.
Exactly, it's got a lot of personality.
Hmm.
It's a
It's
really good.
got tone. It's
It,
got theme. It's got all those things. Even if the plot isn't that great, it's got a lot of stuff going for it.
Yeah, like I think about how, for instance, one of the other really good things I like about this movie is the Karen character. Like I don't think she's a particularly interesting character, but I do like that she is a female character that is present in the movie that is not a romantic interest. I've talked about this I don't know how many times, but I really like when in an action movie the female sidekick character is not a romantic interest.
It's so much more interesting, and especially this one. among even more than Sandra Bullock probably in Demolition Man, gets to fucking kill vampires and kick ass
Yeah, she actually gets to
and take
do
some
things.
hits.
She does shit. That was the other half of the equation. Is that Karen actually does things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Karen is she creates the formula that kills the vampires, that explodes the vampires. She creates a cure for vampirism,
Or at least
and
a preventative
or at
measure
least some kind,
after getting bit.
yeah, at least some kind of preventative measure, and has the, and like you said, like she's got the gumption to go and kill some vampires, which I kind of like tie back to that scene we were talking about with Pearl, uh, where
He
kind of
moved.
he moved exactly like that whole scene. I think it was like there to show that she's on the level. She's on board with fucking up vampires. Like
She wants revenge.
as if that scene was supposed to help her transition to being more into the idea of killing vampires by having the first vampire she really interacts with outside of the one that bit her, Quinn, is like this fucking Jabba the Hutt slob, just disgusting, naked, filthy vampire freak, and it's just there to like help embed it in her head. Oh, these things are fucking disgusting. I have to fucking kill like a fucking bug or something, like a fucking cockroach, and just fucking kill these things. And so she's like,
Not to go back.
go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't know why, but not to go back to the negatives. My one big problem with this movie is Deacon kills the Dragonetti guy,
Yeah,
like makes him sit in the sunrise or whatever.
yeah.
He needs that guy to perform the blood god ritual because he needs all the pure blood, the
He needs like
pure blood
12
ones.
purebloods or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they're already missing a few when the council meetings happen, and he just goes and kills one. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he kills. That's a plot hole because he kills
That's
that
like
guy.
me and Kenny were both like, wait a minute,
He kills
this doesn't
Dragonetti,
make any sense.
and then towards the end of the movie, before the ritual starts, that one vampire girl in the white clothes. I can't. She doesn't. I don't even know if she has a name. She's like a nothing character.
I think
But
she's just listed as Russian lady.
yeah, she kills another one of the council members right before the ritual starts. So I don't know if there was like an odd
I guess
number
we
of.
just had some to spare.
I guess so. Like I guess there was like an odd number of council members because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you killed off two council members. How many more council members were there? Were there 15 or 14 or something? And they never. I mean, they never established how many there were. I don't think, but
Still seems strange.
it still seems odd. I mean, I do. I mean, I said it already, but I hesitate to refer to it as a plot hole because they never outright say how many council members there are. But
It just felt like an odd
if
thing
the
to do.
council member, if the pure blooded council member vampires are like the most integral piece to this part of the plot, then why are you fucking killing them off? You've already got the power over them.
And though I like the sunrise scene, isn't it better if they're there to be like, oh no, like have the scene have more, like these council members have more depth than just these faceless people that we kind of saw once or twice?
Oh, like have the council members there to witness Dragonetti's death.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Dragonetti turning into one of these things, and or like Dragonetti's horror, or the other council members' horrors that we've like had talking back to Deacon.
Yeah.
It just felt like because like towards the end when they are killing all these council members and turning them into these flying bat creatures, I was like, who are these people?
Like, what does it matter?
Yeah,
Like,
who cares?
who gives a
There's no
shit?
depth.
Like at the end of
Just a
the,
small,
it's like at the
just a
end.
small.
It's like I guess I don't know if we're supposed to feel bad for the council members because at the end of the day, they are still vampires that kill people.
No, of course, but just to have more weight to the scene.
Yeah, no, I mean it makes sense. It
'Cause
makes
it's just a
him.
bunch of random people dying, and I guess, not to drag the plot down or anything, but it just would have felt better to have him there at the end rather than the sunrise death.
Yeah, I mean it's just there's some things where like I don't have a problem with the pacing of the movie. I actually think the movie
No, it's
moves at a really
it's
good
pretty quick.
pace. But there are, like you said, there are just like a few things that can be a little goofy sometimes. Like we already mentioned about like Quinn and how many times that guy gets away, like comically, and Blade is just kind of like pining after him. Um, or how there's like that scene we already mentioned where Blade saves the little girl from getting hit by the bus by Deacon, but then 5 minutes later, Deacon finds the Blade and Whistler's hideout and kills Whistler, or not kills Whistler, but mortally wounds Whistler to the point where
And
Whistler
then
has
it
to kill
seems like
himself.
he dies, but we're gonna see him again in the second one. Don't you worry.
Somehow, some way, they never explain that.
Well, I think they like do, but it's just like one sentence, and you're just like they're like, we found him in the Czech Republic. He had gotten abducted or something. And we're like,
Appar-
what?
Apparently, he wasn't very good at shooting himself. I guess
Yeah, apparently he missed, and
Blade
then he got kidnapped a second time.
Blade never bothered to stop and check.
Yeah, because it's like the other team has him
Yeah,
or something in two. I forget. I'm probably gonna have to watch two and three again.
yeah, it's been years for me. I always just watch Blade 1. Because
Really?
Blade 2 and 3 are just like whatever. They're whatever
Well, two
burgers.
is Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it good.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It's
It's not
Guillermo del Toro.
automatic.
Well, it's right around Hellboy. Come on, that's when he
It
was
was
cooking.
right before Hellboy.
Yeah, it's when he was cooking.
It was
I said it was
when
right around.
you're right.
So, Price is Right. I would have made it.
Yeah, it would have been a bit of a low ball, but sure.
Yeah, you just can't go over.
Um, which is funny. I didn't even make that connection that Guillermo del Toro technically has something to do with both Blade and Hellboy.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, I thought we were doing a little Guillermo del Toro theme.
Except the Mummy was thrown in
Well,
there.
yeah, Brendan Fraser. Come on. There's got to be some connective tissue where the Mummy and Guillermo del Toro or Wesley Snipes have somehow touched each other. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon away.
We should have done the Hollow Man.
They should have done the Hollow Man. That one sucks.
It does, doesn't it?
It's so bad, but I love it at the same time. But I've always been a Blade 2. Like, there's Spider-Man 2, there's Blade 2, there's Empire Strikes Back, there's Terminator 2. It's just one of those, you know?
Let's see
Silence.
here. I'm sorry. I was looking at
It's
something.
alright.
Okay. So there's a very loose connection between Guillermo del Toro and the Mummy.
Here we go.
It is paper thin. So it's not necessarily like our Mummy. So, but we do know that the 2017 Mummy is kind of like inspired by the 1999 Mummy.
Alright.
Now, if that version of the Mummy had done well, then it would have gone on to create the Dark Universe cinematic bullshit,
Yeah.
and it would have paved the way for a adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in that universe that Guillermo del Toro would have directed.
We're getting closer.
That's about it.
That's about it.
That's it. So Guillermo del Toro, he would have directed a separate movie that would have taken place in a universe as the same movie that was kind of like a reboot of the 1999 Mummy that we covered. So
Closer.
that's your connective tissue.
My paper thin connective tissue.
Your paper like fucking razor thin. So that's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But I always watched Blade 2 the most. We got the scarier super vampires. There's a lot more vampires in killing. We got light bombs. Ron Perlman's even in that
Oh,
right before Hellboy.
that's another one. Yeah. That's another connection. Doesn't he say something super racist in that movie?
Oh, I'm sure.
He says something like, he asks Blade, he says something racist to Blade. He was like, "Do you blush?"
That's not where I was expecting that to go.
He just is like he just says something like that, and then somebody in this movie says something to Blade. That's a little racy. They say something like they call him Bright Eyes or something like that. Somebody says something racist to Blade. I can't remember what it was.
I'm not sure.
I should have made a note
I
of
think
it.
the only thing that me and Kenny were talking about is one of them calls Karen Sista at some point, and we were both like, "Ooh,
Oh,
that's a little weird."
that's a little 1998.
Yeah,
What do you think about Blade's mom still being alive? Like, you want to talk about a plot line that's absolutely fucking worthless?
yeah. What a and weird sexual tension.
Oh, so Freudian.
Isn't that so strange?
Yeah.
What a strange just Deacon's like, oh yeah, by the way, been blowing your mom's back out this whole time.
That's why he's so pissed. That's why
And then it doesn't go anywhere. He just kills her.
he just kills it. Yeah, he kills his
I
own mom.
release you, mother.
And it's just like
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
probably the greatest final line. And it
Doesn't
like
have anything to do with Blade.
somebody equates that, so like that line is like, obviously it's like super out of pocket and like doesn't make any sense in the context.
Doesn't he drop it in X-Men or Wolverine and Deadpool?
He says something like it, yeah. Oh yeah, he
It's
says some motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate
yeah,
uphill.
still trying to ice skate up.
It was like a nice little nod.
Oh, it's so great.
But
There is only one Blade.
somebody equates that line to the Eminem tagline. Some M&Ms will melt in your hand, not in your mouth. That's like the opposite of the tagline,
I hate it.
because the tagline's like they melt in your mouth, not in your hand. And Wesley Snipes goes, "Some M&Ms still melt in your hand and not in your mouth."
Oh, it's like Running Man level bad.
It's gold. It is gold. It makes the top 10 list just on that alone.
Just on the line, it's a 9 out of 10. But after I heard that line, 10 out of 10.
Well, he has such a way of delivering certain lines. Like, I think to like when he first of all, Blade's name is Eric, which I think is funny. But when he meets his mom after like 30 something years, and they see each other, she looks at him. She's like, "Eric, it's me, your mom." Whatever she says, and he just looks at her, and he goes, "But you die."
Not, I didn't know my name was Eric.
Yeah, yeah, like, oh yeah,
Nobody ever told me that.
yeah.
He goes, damn it, I'm Eric.
Like, he doesn't answer to it. He doesn't know her. It's so funny. And "But you die."
But you died, mama.
So not he didn't say like, "What are you doing here? Who's Eric?" He said that was it. Wasn't even a question. He just said that, and he says things like that throughout the movie. Where he's just like, um, he says something to Whistler. I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was like, oh no, it's whenever Deacon has like the has like what he thinks is Blade's serum that Blade uses to not cure himself, but to like hold over his thirst. And Deacon's like looking at it, and he's like talking about it, and he's like, "I bet you want this shit. Bet it makes you feel really good or whatever." And then Blades goes, "You should try some." And I always think about, you should try some. He's got great line delivery. Wesley Snipes knows how to deliver his lines in this movie.
Oh, he's the best.
Yeah. Do you have anything else about Blade you wanted to get off your chest?
I sincerely, I think my absolute favorite scene in the movie is when Deacon and Quinn are talking, and he's just like, "You don't understand. There was like 20 of them, and he was doing the thing." And then Deacon's like, "Yeah," and then he like caught the sword and threw it up and caught it behind his back. Shut up!
Yeah.
And I just think that's just incredible.
I also think that's incredible. I think that whole opening sequence is incredible. I think that whole sequence where Blade just starts fucking people up is really, anytime Blade's just fucking people up, I think it's great. because you know that like Wesley Snipes is really doing the moves. Um, it's all good. It's all good stuff. The action is definitely like one of the highlights of the movie. But yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else. If you don't have anything else,
All right. Well, the other day we hung out and we watched a incredible movie called Monkey Shines, directed by
George
George
Romero.
Romero. I almost said George R. R. Martin, but that's not true.
George Romero, famous for the Living Dead series, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead.
Popularizing zombies in American culture.
Yeah, basically responsible for modern zombies as we know them in popular culture. Yeah. Genuinely, what did you think about the movie?
Oh, it was a little slow at parts. It's a little low budget, but I had a great time watching it with you because you
I I feel like it's funny because like I remember it being so much better. I remember the monkey stuff, like the schlock of the monkey stuff, but watching the movie itself, what up, Marv? Um,
Marv.
Marv, we're actually almost done, which is so funny.
Now we're talking about Monkey Shines,
Now we're
my
talking
guy.
about fucking monkey shines. But yeah, I mean, I remember the monkey stuff the most, like the crazy aspect of it being like the monkey stuff, the killings, and every time the main character Alan says like some really fucked up stuff, like whenever he's talking about like his mom or the bird, he just gets to like this like trance where he just starts angrily ranting at them. Like when he's talking about the bird, and he's like, "It deserved to die."
Deserved to die.
Or when he calls his mom like a like he calls her every name under the sun, and then ends with a bitch.
Bitch.
And then she starts slapping the shit out of him. So funny.
Oh my goodness, it was so good. I not to skip all the way to the end, but him
The
biting
best
the
part.
monkey's neck and thrashing it around, insane. So funny.
Yeah, it's funny to me because like the movie has like if you like we talked about this, like okay, so like the basic rundown of the plot is that uh there's a guy and he gets hit by a truck and he turns into a quadriplegic, can't move, and his whole life is basically uprooted and changed. He has to get like a live-in nurse. His mom has to like help him out with stuff, and he's basically just paralyzed and he can't do anything. His girlfriend leaves him.
Uh,
Monkey
hey, not to
shines.
interrupt real fast,
Go ahead.
but I found another connective tissue.
What was the connective tissue? Are you between Guillermo del Toro and the
The
Mummy?
mummy.
Yeah. What is it?
Jonathan Hyde, who is the guy who's like, you mustn't touch the book, who's the dad in Jumanji and stuff,
Yeah.
who's in the
The
mummy.
professor. Yeah.
Yeah, the professor guy who's like, you mustn't touch the book. He appears in Crimson Peaks, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
With Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
Yeah. No. Yeah. I've seen it.
yeah. So there's a little bit more razor thin, but
That's
yes,
that's close. That's close.
it's close enough.
But yeah, and but then into the movie a certain way, the monkey shines. Back to monkey shines. In
Back to Monkey
a
Shine.
little bit of the way into the movie, uh, the guy has a best friend who's like a scientist, helps him get a helper monkey, and it's just a monkey that is supposed to like help him do things. Like all he has to do is ask the monkey to do things, and the monkey will like help take care of him. It'll like help him read books or get him food or just do all the different kinds of things for him. And then what Alan doesn't know is that his best friend has been pumping the monkey full of brain juice. And so
Jeffrey's been messing with it.
yeah, and then the monkey known as Ella starts like getting like super smart, crazy smart, and develops like this crazy psychic link between Alan and herself. So now Alan can like see through the monkey's eyes.
He's having nightmares of what she's doing when he's asleep.
Yeah, and they can like they feel each other's emotions. So whenever Ella's around, Alan gets like crazy pissed off at other people, which is like sort of like a manifestation of his own anger, but is also like in my interpretation is kind of like a manifestation of how Ella feels about that person and how they make Alan feel. Um, and
And they're just
Ella,
playing volleyball with their emotions.
yeah, and Ella, based on the psychic link, does things in response to how Alan feels about those things. So, like, for example, at a like this is okay, like if Alan gets attacked by his live-in nurse's parakeet, his live-in nurse has a pet parakeet, and the parakeet attacks Alan at one point, and Alan is like, "Dude, I fucking hate this bird. I've always hated this bird. Fuck this bird." And then Ella is like, in the middle of the night, the monkey goes and just kills the bird and stuffs the bird in the live-in nurse's like slipper, and then finds it the next day. And then when she tells Alan, "Hey, your monkey just I'm pretty sure your monkey killed my bird." Alan,
He's like, good.
that's when Alan's like, "Yeah, good. Fuck that bird. That bird deserves to die."
He starts going down a dark path.
Yeah,
And then
deep dark hole.
meanwhile his wife has been cheating on him with his spinal surgeon. And
Yeah,
then Ella starts to get the idea that he should burn their house down.
and goes and does it, and then
And
that's when Alan's like, "Oh, dude, this is fucked up."
the craziest part of this movie is that we're describing all these crazy things. It takes like hours to get to this point.
Oh yeah,
Because it really is just a standard TV drama
it
for at
drags,
least an
man.
hour and a half.
It drags. Like the movie's like barely 2 hours, and it just fucking drags. Like
It feels like three.
So I bought Lincoln the VHS copy of Monkey Shines for his collection, and I handed it to him. And on the cover, there's like it's I bought a VHS tape that was from like an old video store. Like somebody had it in an old video store, and that's why I bought it because of the aesthetic. And on the label was this on the front cover there was a label that said general drama, and I was reading it and I was like, what the fuck, this isn't a drama, it's a horror movie, because all I could remember was all the parts of the monkey going crazy and killing people. But I swear to God, if you watch like the first 45 minutes of this movie, you'd think it was a general drama.
It
And,
really plays like one too. It
and
plays like it's like like it's a TV made for TV show about somebody getting over the fact that their life has changed dramatically by an accident.
yeah, and the monkey part just happens to be like a part of it.
Yeah, like you could end the movie at an hour long and it's just a story about how this monkey helps this guy.
Yeah. And what's even funnier is once you get to like the latter half of the movie where all the crazy monkey stuff starts happening, it's a completely different movie.
It feels like the tone is shift. It feels like the actors are on a different getting different notes from the director. It feels like the camera lenses change.
And what's even funnier is that uh somehow, some way, this monkey manages to kill. It has like actually like a pretty decent body count. It's killed the bird. It killed like 3 people. I'm pretty sure it killed Jeffrey. So
It's set the all the monkeys on the lab out.
so it killed like 4 people and almost killed another one. I think it almost tried to kill Alan at a certain point, and then Alan kills Ella, the monkey, with his bare teeth.
What I thought was the most hysterical thing towards the end is like his mom's on the floor dead, and he's like, "Ella, did you do this?" And then the Melanie character comes back, and then she falls over and hits her head, and there's bodies all around him, and he's just like, "Ella, you have to stop.
Ella, no.
This has gone too far."
And then my favorite part of that sequence was when Ella gets like on his lap. The monkey gets on his lap towards the end of the movie. It's just him and the monkey. He's still paralyzed. He's looking at the monkey, and the monkey like pisses on him.
You're dead meat now. I'm gonna rip your heart out.
Yeah, he literally
I'm gonna
goes,
rip your
dude.
eyes out.
He looks at this monkey and he's like, "You're slime.
You're garbage.
You're
You're
filth."
scum of the earth.
He's
We were
he just starts
cracking
dogging
up.
this.
It was so funny.
That's when the movie was like good.
That's yeah, when it finally decided to go way over the edge.
Well, it's weird because it like goes in like this wave, and like where like the first wave is like I'm genuinely like interested in like what happens to this guy. He's like he gets paralyzed. I'm interested in seeing how it like impacts his life. But then once it gets to like the middle stage where like the monkey gets introduced to his life and everything's kind of like peachy keen, hunky dory or whatever, then it's like a little bit boring. But then it goes back up whenever it gets to the point where like the monkey starts killing things or doing crazy shit or crazy shit starts happening. But then there's like these moments in between those highs where it ducks back down and you're like, dude, can we just get to the fucking good shit again?
Can we just do this, please?
Yeah. But and then my favorite, and then like we both were like, holy shit, that scared the shit out of us when at the end of the movie they do that thing that like all 80s movies do where they have like this like one final jump scare to try and like scare the shit out of the audience, even if the scare is like total bullshit and it had nothing to do with the movie, it's completely taken out of context, they still put it in there and it scares the shit out of you. And it was in this movie where Alan goes back to get like back surgery, like spine surgery, to try and fix his paralysis. And as they're cutting open his body, the fucking monkey just like shoots through his body and starts screaming and their fucking head off. It's covered in blood. And everybody's like freaking out. Yeah, it got me too.
I was not expecting a jump scare.
No, yeah, because it's like the epilogue. You know, you're like it's over. The monkey's dead.
It's the classic Carrie.
And it was the scariest thing in the whole movie. Was that one shot of the monkey like popping out.
And that's George Romero, the legend, the gore legend guy. And
guy,
he was just like, yeah, I just won.
Yeah. The guy that was like probably dared to make a movie about a killer monkey.
Yeah, because he was just like, you know that dumb book?
That was me.
It was me. So good. I also found the most connective tissue I could find.
Okay, so that's us being done with Monkey Shines, and then
Monkey Shine's over. The last bit of connection of our trilogy of movies.
And then I'll let you tell me about the Guillermo del Toro and the Mummy shit, and then we'll finally be finished with Blade.
Well, the Mummy, Hellboy, and Blade are all connected by their lesser cast members. Were all in SVU.
Who's the what?
Different actors.
Not the same actor, but different actors.
Not the same actors. Different actors all appeared on NCIS, Law and Order, or any of those shows at least once.
Okay.
That's the last bit of connective tissue for our action horror trilogy that we were doing.
Well, thank you. That was so worth it. Okay, so
fuck you.
Yeah, no.
It was a funny bit.
That was nice. I'm glad you put that in there. I'm just kidding. Okay, so it's been so long since we had to use the picker wheel that
I forgot we even did that.
It's been so long since we had to use the picker wheel that it actually reset on us. So we have to like re-input all the stuff we had, and I don't remember what we had in there. I know a few of them, but it's basically gonna mean we have to like re-put in stuff, and then we'll do the pick. So I know one of them was Lethal Weapon. I know one of them was Point Break. I know one of them was
Yo
Roadhouse.
Himbo.
One of them was Yo Himbo. And then that's where I started a RoboCop. Marv, this is your chance. If you want to put something in here, this is your chance now. I got Yo Himbo in there. I don't remember what the other pick you had on here was.
I'm trying to look through old episodes to find it, but I can't find it.
It's been a while since we put it on there. Let's see here. RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, Point Break, Roadhouse, Yojimbo. What's next? Resident Evil. I'll put that on there. That's the one with Mia Jovovich. Jovovich?
Yeah.
However you say her name. Action horror, solid. What else? What else? What else? What do you got, Lincoln? Do you have anyone that you want to put on here, or are we just good with these 6?
I'm good with those 6 for now. I will rebuke one until next week.
Okay. You'll withhold one?
I'll withhold my pick till next week.
All right, we'll go ahead and
Keep it simple.
spin, and then we'll see what we got. We got RoboCop.
Finally, we can get that one out of the way.
Yeah.
God, I hate RoboCop.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead. What Marv says we need a fist fighting movie, so I'm gonna remove RoboCop. We'll do that next week, and then we'll add like a
Get a Van Damme or something in there.
yeah. We need something that's like, oh shit. We need like a Jackie Chan or a
Can
Bruce
we put
Lee.
Rush Hour in there?
Should we do Rush Hour or should we do? Hold on, let me look up.
We could do the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith.
No, let's do something. We need to do like a Jackie Chan classic. We need to do like a Jackie Chan classic. Jackie Chan.
The Drunken
movies
Master.
Yeah, either like the Drunken Master.
Oh, we could do
Oh,
Jackie Chan
dude,
animated series.
No, Marv's got it. It's Police Story.
Oh, that's actually that's perfect.
That's
Put it
like
on
his.
the
That's
list.
like his most classic movies. Police Story.
Yep. God, it only came out in 2004. I thought it was older.
No, Police Story 2000 is 1985. Police Story Lockdown maybe is like what you're thinking of. I don't know.
Oh no, I'm looking at the new Police Story. I didn't see the new part. I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, Police Story is on
Mhm.
Max or Prime. So that's
Yeah, there's like there's like 6 of them. That's why I was getting confused. I was like, what the fuck?
yeah. So we're definitely putting Police Story in there. Perfect.
Are you sure we can't do Jackie Chan and animated adventures?
not for a movie podcast. Okay. All right. So we finally got that in there. That's good shit. We'll do RoboCop next week, and then we'll give it another spin. Everything will be nice. Everything will be fine and dandy. Anyway, unless you have anything else, I think that's it from us.
That seems like it'll be all it. Peace.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking out. Don't forget. Go ahead, Marv. Go ahead. I'll let you get out this thought. Don't forget, all podcast episodes are good. Awesome. Awesome sauce, buddy. Oh shit. You'll have to tell me about that on Discord. Like what's up with that. But that's gonna be it from us. Oh cool. Nice. Well, that's good for school, yeah. All right, anyway, that's gonna be it from us. Don't forget all Action Jack-Off podcast episodes go up on YouTube the next day. Well, I guess it's already Halloween, so it'll be up by the end of today. So enjoy that.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. Peace.
Yeah.